how to set up several outputs for Kontakt in Studio One. Now I know that there are several videos out there already, but I couldn't find one that would solve the problem I would always end up with. So I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to drag in my Kontakt into my project to insert it as an instrument. So now I'm going to open it and I'm going to click here and enable the output view. And what you can see here is this strange setup with those 4 aux channels and only 1 stereo output. So by the way, ST means stereo. So this setup does not resemble 16 outputs, does it? So what you have to do is you have to click here and I'm gonna pick a quantity of 8 channels that each consist of 2 channels. Because it's stereo, it's a bit confusing, but you get the point. So 8 times 2 makes 16 outputs. Here I'm gonna pick the first one and ascending output assignment. I'm gonna check this, delete existing channels before creating new ones. I'm gonna check this too. And I also recommend you to check this here, make this your default configuration. But just to show you something, I'm going to leave this out. I'm going to click OK. And you can see that now 8 stereo outputs have been created and each contains 2 channels and the numbering is also correct. So now I can just add an instrument. And if I route this to the stereo output 6 to this one here and select the instrument and play something, you can't hear it yet, but you can see that this instrument is already correctly routed to the stereo output number 6. Now, in order to hear it, we still have to activate those outputs in our DAW, because currently only the first stereo output, see that, is activated. And activating outputs in Studio One is very simple. You just click here. And here comes the problem I was referring to at the beginning. Because what you can see here looks very strange and it does not resemble the setup that we have just created. Okay, so what you have to do is, before you load any instruments in here, let's unload this instrument. And after you have created this setup, you have to save this as your default. So I'm going to click here and save current output section state as default for VST plugin 16 out, because that's the plugin I've loaded, right? That's this one. I'm going to save it and close this. And now I have to remove the instrument and reload it. Now you can see that the setup is here, the setup that we have just created, because we have just saved it as default for this plugin, okay? And now if I click here to activate those outputs, finally those outputs resemble these outputs. So if I load instruments now, let's just pick anything. I can route this to the first stereo output. I will route this to the second, to this one, the second stereo output. And now I'll click here and activate both outputs. And now you can see that a second channel has just appeared here. And if I click on this instrument and play it now, you can see there's the signal. It's been routed into this output, and this output is activated as a channel here. So I hope this helps you to get it sorted out. Finally, you have to make sure that those outputs that you can activate here resemble your setup. And you do this by saving your setup as the default and then you reload the instrument, and finally it will work. Thanks for watching and goodbye.